We are live on the Doug Siravo show. Alongside me, we have Brandon Schwartz. Andrew Brem is back after resigning. Welcome back.
Hey.
So now we're going to join Kyle Esposito to discuss the New York Jets. Kyle, how are you today?
You know what, Doug? I am feeling extra, excited today.
Why is that? Is it because Adam
why?
got fired?
You know, Andrew, you would be correct. Adam Gase. Before I continue, can I swear on this established program?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
of course.
Just make sure it's a little PG.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Gase. Oh, Adam Gase. 9-23. That was his record as a New York Jets head coach. Now let me explain to you what that compares to. A big dump. That's what it compares to. All right? He is the biggest pile of crap head coach I have ever witnessed as a human being since I've been born on this earth 21 years ago. I have withstand Rex Ryan. I have withstand Todd Bowles. I miss Todd Bowles. Please, for the love of God, bring me Todd Bowles back. But no, we're not going to get Todd Bowles back. We have to worry about who we're going to interview after Adam Gase. Now, there is one guy in particular that I believe can do this job. His name is Brian DeBull. He is the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Shout out to the Bills. That's my pick for the Super Bowl. If he can develop a quarterback like Josh Allen, same draft class as Sam Darnold, he could definitely do the same for Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold, the whole 2 wins that the Jets got between the Browns and the Rams, he definitely has shown that he is not an elite quarterback, but a very good quarterback. He just needs the weapons, and the Jets need everything else. Now, that being said, fuck you, Adam Gase. All right, let's go.
All right, so now we're going to join another Jets fan live from Florida. Matty Giz, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Doug, how's it going?
Look at that
good.
flow.
You doing good?
Look at that flow you got.
Yeah, so Jets fan. I'm glad. I know there's probably like a mixed bunch who some people would like to have seen the Jets end up in last, not get any wins, get that first overall pick, but I was kind of rooting for them against the Rams and the Browns. I'm glad they won those games. I think those were at least something you could look back and positives. Those were 2 big games for both of those teams that they versed, and they played well against them. Adam Gase. You heard from guys in Miami telling Jets fans and this is Dolphins fans, to avoid Adam Gase. They shouldn't have signed him to be their head coach after they did. I have some mixed feelings towards him at the end of the season because he did for the most part until those last few weeks really, the 2 wins that they got, it was pretty much a disaster, right? But I will say with Greg Williams out, he did go 2-1 left in it, so I was thinking, was it so much Adam Gase? Was it Greg Williams' fault? Because the Jets' defense was just horrendous from what we saw. So, we've seen some sparks from the offense. Granted, not true consistency, but I think there's potential there from the guys they have on the field. And I don't know. Maybe I was thinking maybe you let Adam Gase maybe start the first few games next year, but keep him on like the shortest leash possible. See how he does. Could start up new season planning without Greg Williams there. But the Jets. Hey, they got the number 2 overall pick. I believe they got now, right? So they gotta do good with that. But yeah, we got that, and hey, as a Jets fan, every year you just gotta hope. That's what keeps you going as a Jets fan. And And we'll see. We'll see how they draft, and we'll see what kind of coaching we get in there, and hopefully, maybe we get some going with some of these young guys. Sam Darnold's still very young, and we've seen he's played well for what he's had to work with. Um, yeah, Ty Johnson, I believe, or Ty Montgomery or Ty Johnson, right? The running back. And we've seen Denzel Mims was a nice bright spot. So they definitely have some good pieces to start with, and they're going to get a whole lot of players in the next draft. They have plenty of draft picks, plenty of first round draft picks as well. So we'll see. So we're looking forward to the draft and seeing what maybe we could do for next season.
All right, Matt, where do the Jets go from here? Do they take Justin Fields? Do they find a way to trade for the number 1 pick and get Trevor Lawrence?
That's a good question. I mean, like for guys like I think the Carson Wentz, right? I don't think you should go after him or anything like that. We saw what he was doing with the Eagles at the end of the year when he didn't have much help. That's the last thing the Jets need is another guy to come in who's been turnover prone, just throwing interceptions everywhere, not handling the ball, protecting the ball. And, the Jets don't have a lot of weapons, say, early ones that will really take the quarterback to the next level. At least for Carson Wentz, I don't think so. I think it would be very similar to what we've seen this season if the Jets were to get, say someone like Carson Wentz. But I think the Jets, they're actually in a pretty, I mean, yeah, they did go 2-14, but I think there's an opportunity here. You got the second overall pick, and that's always good. Last time had second overall pick, what was that when they had drafted like Keyshawn Johnson, I think, and they traded him too. Look what that happened with the Hall of Famer. So Jamal Adams is probably going to end up like that as well. So the Jets, they've made so many questionable decisions throughout years, but I think maybe you trade that second overall pick and go maybe lower, wait a little longer in the draft, get someone else, or you just take Fields and hey, see what you can do with him.
All right, Kyle, I'm going back to you. What do you see the Jets doing with the second overall pick?
Well, I can tell you right now, as understanding this team since I've been a fan since 2009, if they were to try to trade the number 2 pick, it would be like a homeless person trying to trade pebbles and food wrappers to another team that also has pebbles and food wrappers. The Jaguars are only good for their cap space, which is a very intriguing position for if you want to have a head coaching job. But when it comes down to the number 2 overall pick, I do not see them trading it. Like I said, I think that they either go for Justin Fields, which I personally think would be a bad idea because he has already shown that yes, he scored 8,500 touchdowns against Trevor Lawrence, but Zach Wilson, the quarterback from BYU, is my pick, and I think is the pick that I think every Jets fan wants to see. I don't think that Justin Fields is the one, in my opinion.
Matt, where do you stand with that opinion from Kyle Esposito? And then I'm going to let Brandon Schwartz join in and give his thoughts on that.
So, it's like I said, it's Kyle's definitely got some good points in there, and I think we're Fields. We don't know. We just don't know yet. We've seen, especially as a Jets fan, it's hard to, when you're even with any of these quarterbacks, even Trevor Lawrence, if you just think a guy's gonna come in to New York Jets organization as a quarterback and just turn the whole thing around, I feel like at this point with the Jets, we have to see it first, with any of these guys. So, it's a tough decision they'll have to make, but like I said, you just gotta hope. We've been the general managements, ownerships, they've let us down a lot through the years, but you just all you got as a Jets fan is hope. You just gotta hope that you get turning around.
Kyle, you agree with him?
Hello?
Do you agree with Matt?
I definitely think that there's some hope, with the number 2 pick with any team, whether you're the top of the food chain or you're the bottom of the food chain. If you have the number 2 pick, you have potential to try to upgrade your team to as best as they can. But knowing the New York Jets as I have known them to fuck up on a couple things, if they don't draft a kicker in the first round, they're doing a great job. Obviously, we need help in great areas, but do not draft a kicker or a punter in the first round. Zach Wilson, all the way. That's how you build your future. And then we're top 10. I believe that we're top 10 in cap space. So that helps a lot too.
All right, Brandon, how do you feel about this?
Well, the Jets, they're just going through a rebuilding process now. I mean, there is a chance you won't see Sam Darnold with the Jets next year. Could they make a big trade for Sam Darnold? Maybe. You could trade for Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 pick. We all know that the Jacksonville Jaguars got the first pick, and Trevor Lawrence likely knows where he's going in the Jacksonville Jaguars, but maybe the New York Jets would be a better destination for him. Maybe New York is a better city for him to play in than Jacksonville. But again, the Jets just got to see what they're going to do for the future. I mean, you got to hire a new coach. Question is who you're going to hire. I think the guy from Iowa State, Matt Campbell, could be a good candidate. I think he could be pretty good. But there's other guys out there that could be the next coach of the Jets. But we'll see what happens. I mean, question is what you're going to do with Sam Darnold, too. Will Sam Darnold stay or will he leave? And that's up to the Jets brass to figure out.
We're going to go back to Matthew Gizzy. Matt, if you were the Jets, you mentioned a few years ago to go after someone like Luke Falk. You were wrong. So do you see the Jets going after a quarterback like maybe Zach Wilson?
Well, I wouldn't exactly say I was wrong, considering we still have yet, like I said, to really see a player come to the Jets and perform to a high standard, right? The kid was only given maybe a couple games. He was going against New England Patriots. He had like the best defense that year, one of his games. So it was not a good situation for him. They didn't put him in good situations, and they threw him. It was trial by fire, and they just threw him in there, right? So I still think, I still think that kid had, and he still does have potential, a lot of potential, but I think you still are looking for guys like that you could get late. I mean, we've seen the past few years in the draft, it has not been the first, second, or maybe even third quarterbacks that have went off the board who have had the most impact. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he went 32nd, last pick of the first round, right? We had Justin Herbert was like the third or fourth, I believe, quarterback taken, right? It went Burrow and then something like that. But he wasn't the first. So you have very similar things like that happen. You can see with a lot of these young guys. Pat Mahomes wasn't the first pick in that draft either. He was like, and I think that was the one that I believe, you could correct me if I'm wrong, Goff and Wentz went in that the same one as well. Yeah, so I think the Jets, maybe you look for quarterbacks somewhere around there that maybe you could add in case it doesn't work out with Sam Darnold. But I think you invested so much. You already invested the third overall pick, which you had which they traded up for from the sixth overall pick when they drafted Sam Darnold that year. So you're you gotta give him at least another year, see what he could do, but also maybe have someone else. Young quarterback that can maybe step in if it doesn't work out.
All right, so Matt, how are things in Florida? The Jacksonville Jaguars get the number 1 overall pick. Do you see them going to Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields?
Yes, it was sorry, it's kind of hard to hear you, sorry, but I believe you're asking about the Jaguars, right?
Yeah, do they go with Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields? I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to go Trevor Lawrence. I've been a huge fan of this guy since I first saw him play in college, and you could see this kid's got from what just looking at the eye test and what you see from him, he's just so special. He's just got such talent, and just not only talent but different things like leadership and just a great player and a great teammate, and he could win, and he shows that he could win, and he could win big at Clemson. So I mean, I would like the Jets to get Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if it'll come to that. Jaguars, I think, although they're not in as dire need of a quarterback as the Jets, I'd say, I think they still are looking for one, and I think they have the opportunity. So I don't know how you can really pass that up much unless you trade back. So yeah, I think I still think if the Jets could get one of those two, which they will, right? Unless they decide to pass on them, I think we should at least have some kind of optimism with that. I mean, if we get Justin Fields, but Trevor Lawrence definitely he's just a great player, and it'd just be awesome to have him in New York Jets uniform.
That would be awesome for you guys. So we're gonna take a quick break on the New York Jets. I'm gonna have Brandon Schwartz come on to discuss the New York Giants. Tough way for the Eagles to basically rig it against us. Taking out taking out Jalen Hurts for Nate Sudfeld. Embarrassing. We won our game. Eagles couldn't do our part. Couldn't do the part for us. How do you feel about that? Where do you see the Giants going moving forward?
Well, there's a lot to think. And I think the Giants, despite, you got to say this is a really big improvement. 6-10, better than where they were in the last couple of years. I mean, they just turned out they're getting better and better each year. And I think Joe Judge is the difference. I think he's a good coach. He's a winning coach. He can be a champion. He could be a championship coach in the coming years. But the question is, and this is what everyone wants to know, will Daniel Jones be your face of the franchise future quarterback? Will he be your quarterback for a while? That's the question a lot of people don't know. Now, there is stuff he has to improve on. He has a good offensive line he works with. I think he could be a little more. He needs to work on throwing he doesn't have a very long arm. He doesn't pass far. He doesn't throw that many far passes and stuff. And he the really good quarterbacks will make those good passes. He's got to learn how to do that. And he can. I think he's got the potential to.
Less turnovers?
Less turnovers would be great. And, I think he's got to stay healthy too. The injuries the injuries hurt him. And he's got to, try and stay healthy when he can. But it was a tough loss against the Eagles last night. Very tough loss. And there are rumors saying that the Eagles purposely wanted to do that.
Oh, I think so.
Because they didn't want to see the Giants win the division. They wanted to purposely lose that game. This way the Giants wouldn't win the division.
Jalen Hurts would have won that game for us.
Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. That guy, Nate Sudfeld, and I was talking about it with my last night. I think one of the worst quarterbacks we've ever seen. He was horrible. I don't know if he was purposely slumping. I don't know if he was purposely playing bad just to lose the game, or is that just who he was? I mean, he just didn't have a good game at all. He didn't play well at all.
And then Peterson came out and said, "Oh, I'm playing to win." No, you weren't. It was obvious with our own eyes. But moving forward with the New York Giants, if they want to be successful, these are the three things we need. Number one, Joe Judge is going to be a great coach, so we don't even have to mention him. But I'm going with this. We need a healthy Saquon Barkley. That's number one. Number two, we need the O-line to perform. I don't even have to mention the defense because the defense is good. Defense and the coaching staff is leading us to the right direction. But we need a healthy Barkley, a great O-line. But most importantly, we need Daniel Jones to play at an elite status. Because if he plays inconsistent, commits turnovers when we're about to score in the end zone, that's going to be an issue. So if the Giants want to be successful moving forward, we need those three things to happen. We truly need it. And that's my own opinion. I'm going to have Andrew talk about his Las Vegas Raiders.
I'm not talking about it. Oh, come on. I don't really know, but well, now we're in the playoffs now, so.
No, you guys missed it, Andrew.
What?
The Raiders.
Yeah, they did.
Or do you mean we're going to talk about the playoffs?
Yeah, let's talk about the playoffs.
All right, Andrew wants to talk about the playoffs.
Yeah, anyways, I think the Buffalo Bills.
All right, we'll get to that, but let's start with Kyle Esposito. Kyle.
Hello, sir.
You have going to the Super Bowl and why?
All right. Now, this was a very difficult choice just because, well, not on the NFC side. Well, on the NFC side, I see the Green Bay Packers. I don't think you can see a better quarterback performing today besides Pat Mahomes than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, at 107 years old, it seems like he's been in the league for so long. He threw 48 touchdowns this year, and it doesn't seem like he's stopping it. It doesn't seem like Jordan Love, the backup quarterback that they drafted this year, will ever get any playing time unless Aaron Rodgers retires or he goes to the New York Jets. With that being said, on the AFC side, it was very difficult. I had the Chiefs, Bills, and Browns as my top three choices to go to the Super Bowl. And I think out of those three choices, I hate to say it, guys, I think it's the Browns. The Browns have a lot to pay they have a lot of motivation going into this season. This is their
You're
first.
really going to go with the Browns?
I'm going to go with the Browns going to the Super Bowl, not winning the Super Bowl, but they're going to go to the Super Bowl, and here's why. I
think Baker's hungry for that.
Wait, what?
I think Baker is hungry for that, so I see a possibility.
Yes, that's why I'm saying if you look at how Baker Mayfield has played between the last couple of weeks, granted he got shat on by the Jets, and that's a really difficult sentence for me to say. He's been playing like he wants it. He strives for it, and I just haven't seen a better Browns team since I came out the womb. So the Browns are definitely going to beat the Steelers because the Steelers, wow, are they shitting the bed right now. They gave up so many winnable wins. It's mind-boggling. The Browns are definitely going to move on from the Jets. Wow, Steelers, and then they will beat the Titans because I don't see the Ravens making out of that matchup. But with the Browns and the Chiefs, oh man, I definitely see the Browns winning that just because Nick Chubb. I watched Nick Chubb just massacre a man downfield. Just told him to get the hell out the way. I definitely see Browns, Packers win the Super Bowl this year.
All right, Matt, I'm going to come to you now. Who is your team? And actually, let's do a bracket. Who do you have going to the Super Bowl?
Man, there's. I tell you what, it should be good because we got a lot of really good teams at the top, right? But we have some teams that you could see almost any one of these guys taking it. I mean, a lot of, we got, like you said, the Browns could be, surprising. The Colts is another team that I think they gotta, watch out for because that defense, I mean, that could stop anyone. I mean, there's just a lot of potential power players in this playoffs, as there should be, But I think it should be fun to watch. I think the Ravens beat the Titans in kind of like
Yeah, hold on, Kyle. Is that a Giants jersey now?
Yes, I switched to a Giants jersey.
Oh, nice. All right, Matt,
Yes,
back to you.
Yeah, it was hard to hear you there, Doug. But I was just gonna say that the Ravens the Titans beat the Ravens. In that upset. What was it like last year, right? So I think they get a little maybe payback or whatever, or they're better prepared for him this time. I think the Steelers beat the Browns. I think when the Steelers just played the Browns, right? But the Steelers were playing with like their fifth string guys, right? So I don't see Cleveland beating them two weeks in a row, especially when you're going to see the difference in the team from one week to the next. I think the Steelers take that one. Like I said, I like the Colts. Saints. They're another team to watch out for. Rams. Rams versus Seahawks. Both teams. One loss to the Jets. One loss to the Giants. They're both teams that they could also be very good. Tampa Bay, you should expect them to beat Washington, but yeah, you never know in the playoffs. So but yeah, Green Bay and Chiefs definitely they should be great though. So it's like I said, it should be exciting to see. Exciting playoffs. I think it should be good. Doug.
Brandon, who do you have going to the Super Bowl?
I see the Bills going to Super Bowl because the way I've seen them play in the last few games, they're just unstoppable. They clearly, to me, look like the best team in the league. Especially yesterday's game. I mean, they just look dynamite.
Yeah, and they're New York tough. Since they're in New York State, they're New York tough.
That's right.
And Andrew Cuomo was actually thrilled about it himself, and he wants to actually have people sit there.
Yes.
At the stadium so he could sit there himself.
But yeah, the Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl, and I think the Packers are going to be the NFC team that goes to the Super Bowl. I think Aaron Rodgers still has it. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think it'll be the Bills, Packers, Super Bowl. And I agree with you on the conference championship. I think it's going to be the Bills and the AFC conference championship.
Yeah, right.
It's going to be the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Bills. Yeah, the Bills are tough. They're New York.
It's going to be the Bills and the Packers.
They're New York tough. The Bills.
It's going to be the Bills and the Packers for the Super Bowl, and that's going to be in Tampa Bay this year. Now, how many fans do they say they're going to allow?
I believe it's 25%. So it's about assume they sit like 60,000 people, 100,000 people. Divide that by 25, so
let's see. Let's take a look. 100,000. Let's take a look right now. 100,000.
Yeah, assume they sit 100,000 people.
Divided by 25 would be 4,000 people.
How many?
4,000 people.
Does that sound about right? 4,000 people?
That's not bad.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We are back on the Doug Siravo Show. So Andrew wants to talk some NBA. We're going to do that, and we'll talk some hockey since it's coming up. Andrew, you're the NBA analyst.
Yes.
Let's see what you got for us today.
So right now it looks like the 76ers are in first place in the Eastern Conference. And the Western Conference, we got the LA Clippers first, which is crazy because LA Lakers are first in the league last year, and they actually won the conference and the championship. So maybe this time it's for the Clippers. So we have to see. And the Knicks are doing pretty good this year. They've been doing they've been doing awful the last couple of years, but they're stepping up their game and they're rebuilding. They're moving on, and I could see them as a playoff team. I could see them going into the playoffs, and maybe in a couple of years we'll probably see them in a championship game.
Hey, so let's bring in. We're going to get to Brandon in a second to talk the Knicks, but Kyle is a Brooklyn Nets fan. Kyle, give me your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets so far.
Well, so far, we started off hot. We destroyed the Warriors in our season opener, and then we destroyed the Celtics. But after the Celtics, we kind of slowed down a little bit. The momentum with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving kind of slowed. Kevin Durant didn't play one game against the Atlanta Hawks. We're currently 3-4 because we just lost to the Wizards just a day ago. And that was a team that started off 0-5. 0-5 when we have a team with KD and Kyrie. Now, I know you can't win them all, but, come on. That's an 0-5 team with Russell Westbrook on it and Bradley Beal. I definitely see, not a biased opinion, but I definitely see the Brooklyn Nets taking the Eastern Conference this year. I'm not going to go out and say they're going to win the NBA title because we still have, stuff left to see. We still have to see.
Kyle, what's the window for them to win an NBA championship?
For a window?
Yeah, 4-year contract. So do you see them going to the finals at least once in those 4 years?
I see them winning the title. In all honesty, I see them winning the title between this year, maybe not this year actually, because Spencer Dinwiddie is out for the season with an ACL injury. And Spencer Dinwiddie is a big part of this Brooklyn Nets team ever since they were sucking a couple years ago and even further than that. Or was a part of helping this team come back from being mediocre at best. I say between this year and next year, we're going to see a championship in Brooklyn.
So, Kyle, back to the NBA. So you probably heard January 7th that the NBA wants to put trackers on all the players for the virus because they want to see that they're not violating virus protocols. What do you think of that? Do you think it's ridiculous? Because to me, I think it's really ridiculous, and I think it's just a way of control. I feel like it's not fair for them to control these players' lives when they just want to live their lives and act like normal people.
Well, I definitely see the argument there, Andrew. If I was in the NBA, I wouldn't want my life to be, controlled by a company. That I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't go to Toys R Us, I can't go to this. But I understand when it comes to sports, when you're playing a serious, what am I trying to say? If you're an athlete in the United States, where a whole bunch of people come to see you play, and you're off doing shenanigans, not sports related. I know you have your personal lives, but when it comes to sports and winning a championship, and when it means to the team and the players on that team, when everyone has to be at their 110%, I believe that this contact tracing is very necessary because if you're out just going to clubs like James Harden, who is not giving a crap in the world, if he's wearing a mask or getting, grinded on by a stripper, I think you need to keep track of where your players are going and make sure none of them got COVID so your team can win a championship this year.
Yeah, that's true. But still, you could still test them. You could still test them. You could always, they could always tell you how they're feeling, regardless. So, I
definitely agree that testing, testing along with, whatever else the NBA or whatever other organization has set for their players in terms of COVID.
Yeah. Right.
You're always gonna test for COVID. I get that, but it's an extra precaution to know where your players are going so you can make sure that they don't have COVID so they're healthy to play the next day.
Yeah, that's true, but still, it's a little too far. I think it's just. I just think it's.
As a civilian, I think it's ridiculous. But if I was looking into the point of view of a CEO or COO or someone in a position of power, I would definitely make sure that is a very much mandatory need for the NBA.
Right, and one more question.
One more question from Andrew.
So, do you think the NBA a lot lately. I've been hearing a lot of things about the NBA in terms of patriotism and Americanism. Do you think it's?
Let's not get into politics tonight.
Okay.
Let's stay away from that. I want Brandon Schwartz to discuss his New York Knicks.
So currently the New York Knicks are playing the Atlanta Hawks, and they're down by 6. They're looking good tonight. But the Atlanta Hawks is a tough team, so hopefully we can come out of Atlanta with a win today. But the past games, I really like what I've seen. They're showing that they could win. They could play. They could be competitive. They don't give up. So the old New York Knicks, you would see they would have a good first half, and in the second half they would really be bad. They would just like they would fall apart. They wouldn't be hitting shots. They would just let the other teams go on a rampage. But I've seen the opposite this year so far. This could be due to the Tom Thibodeau hire. Tom will make your players play hard. He'll take you out if you make a mistake here and there. He don't give minutes. You earn your minutes with Tom Thibodeau, and I remember he said that on the press conferences. He earns you have to earn your minutes with the team. But I think the Knicks could be a playoff team within a couple of years. They're 3-3 right now. Very early to determine how they're going to do for the season. But I think the Knicks fans should be very excited because we've been so bad for about 7 or 8 years already. And we're really, I think we're heading in the right direction now. Listen, we don't have Kyrie Irving. We don't have Kevin Durant. We don't have an all-star on our team. But I think RJ Barrett could be your next all-star potentially in the next couple 2 to 3 years. RJ Barrett's going to be a really good player. You could tell by the way he's ball handling is very well. He's got to work on his 3-point shot. His 3-point shot needs improvement, but I think that could be an easy fix for him. And Mitchell Robinson. The other night, he looked really good. He just is a beast on the boards. He's just a monster. He could rebound. He could block shots like easy. He makes it look easy out there on the court. But yeah, I think the Knicks they're going to have a good team. I think having Tom Thibodeau as your coach is going to motivate the players. It's going to get them to play well. And I like the assistant coaches, Mike Woodson, Kenny Payne.
Oh, Mike Woodson's back?
Mike Woodson's back, yeah. I think the Knicks want to have Mike Woodson back. The fans loved him. Last time the Knicks were good was when they had Mike Woodson as their head coach. It feels like it's forever, though, because they've been so bad for 8 years already. But yeah,
2012.
But the New York Knicks have a good future ahead of them, I believe. So
you don't have to remind me I'm 9 years out of high school.
Hopefully we'll see a Knicks-Nets finals, Knicks-Nets Eastern Conference final matchup someday.
Hey, Angie, you don't have to remind me. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we get back, I am going to talk with Matthew Gizzi about the National Hockey League. We'll be right back. All right, we are back on the Doug Siravo Show. Joining me right now is Rangers fan, roller hockey Stanley Cup champion, Matthew Gizzi. Matt, how are you today?
Still good, Doug. Very excited. Very excited. Great. Season's coming up with 10 days. It's coming up soon, and much to be excited about as a Rangers fan.
So, we have our rivalry of the Devils and the Rangers. Take me through this. Would you say that the Rangers rebuilt better than the New Jersey Devils did compared to their 8-year rebuild? Because it's been a long time. We delayed the rebuild by signing guys like Michael Ryder, Marty Havlat, Scott Gomez came back somehow. So would you say that the Rangers rebuilt better than our New Jersey Devils?
I don't really know if you could compare the two exactly because, two different teams. Rangers got a lot more money, a lot bigger market, right? they could spend more money, right? So they could sign bigger guys than the Devils will. But the Devils, I think they were more in a rebuild, while the Rangers, we could say that they are more retooling as they used. But they certainly, I mean, the Rangers have certainly, or well, at least now they're certainly in a better spot than the Devils are, and they have been for the past for a good while now. It seems like the Devils. I mean, it looked like they might actually be doing something, and then they just fell off the face of the earth. So we'll see how they do. But I think I definitely think the Rangers are gonna have their number this year.
So I'm not laughing at you, Matt. I'm laughing at Kyle. It's like Kyle was prepared for every skit. Now he's wearing a Devils jersey.
These sort of things done.
Nico, he autographed his Nico Heisha Devils jersey.
John Hayden.
How many jerseys you have?
That's his only one. So Kyle, talk to me about the Devils.
Here's the thing about the Devils. As much as I love them, Doug, as much as we love them, Doug, I have no idea what's going to happen this year. This is the first time, as a Devils fan, paying attention to hockey on a daily basis, that I'm like, I wonder what they're going to do this year. Because, we got a new coach this year. I don't know his goddamn name, but he's from the Buffalo Sabres. We got to see how he does with our team. PK Subban did not really have a great first year as a New Jersey Devil. Was his first year as a New Jersey Devil. So we see if he has a comeback here. We got Kyle Palmieri and Nico Heisha. After we traded our captain, which one of them is going to be a breakout star? I think it's going to be my boy, number 13, Nico Heisha. He's gonna dominate and lead our team in points this year. So, with that being said, will we make the playoffs?
Do you think we'll have a captain this year?
Question?
Do you think we will have a captain this year?
Because repite por favor uno más.
Do you think we will have a captain this year?
Great question, Doug. I don't know. I don't think we will. I think if we really want to look at it for a second, Nico's is going into his junior year or his junior year. Kyle Palmieri, there's trade rumors about him since we were basically getting rid of everyone that was on the team to start of last season. I don't know. I think we'll see when we get to the All-Star break, who will be, if anyone is even close to being considered a captain. But my guess is leaning more towards Nico.
All right, let's go to the Rangers. Matthew Gizzy, will the Rangers have a captain this year?
That's a good question, Doug. There's been
before you have your answer, I'm going to go with Mika Zibanejad as the captain.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely some guys that you could pick from. I mean, Mika, Kreider, Panarin, definitely the way he's played, and he's just been great. And there's talk that first overall pick, Alex Lafreniere, could be it. We've seen that a lot of times with the first overall picks, they turn into their captains. So I think they're gonna wait a little bit with who they have, because they have such a good group of guys that they can pick from. And they got a lot of young guys. They're a very young team. I think they want to see what their guys can do first, what their guys do, how they perform together. They want to see how Kako can grow. Just a lot of different people you can see coming out of it as a captain. So I don't think they want to be too quick to name one yet. I mean, they have yet to name one. So I think they're gonna do a similar one where they have maybe like 3 or 4 alternates, and then maybe just wait a year at least before deciding who they would pick for a captain.
All right, so we're going to take another quick commercial break, and we will be right back. Andrew, Brandon, and myself, and you guys, we're going to discuss some Major League Baseball off-season, and we're going to do some predictions of who's going to sign where. We'll be right back. So we are back on the Doug Siravo Show. Alongside me, we have Andrew Brum, the Dodger fan, Brandon Schwartz, the Yankee fan, and I'm the only Rays fan here. So I guess Kyle was like so prepared because Kyle now has a Yankee jersey on. Kyle!
Like I said, you got to be prepared.
Oh, man. You are on a roll right now. Who's that, Gary Sanchez or
Tino
What number
Martinez
is this?
or
What jersey did I grab out the closet today? Yep, that's a Gary
24,
Sanchez.
but it could be Tino, it could be Cano.
I would rather be Cano. Gary Sanchez kind of shit in the bed right now.
So I'm going to let you have a conversation with Brandon, and you guys could see who the Yankees will sign this offseason.
Okay, I'm down for that.
Kyle,
Come on,
go.
stud. All right. Kluber. All right.
big question is going to be LeMahieu. Where do you think LeMahieu's going to end up?
All right. As much as I want LeMahieu to sign with New York, and as much as he's beloved in New York right now, I have a very odd feeling that we will only get the answer to that depending on what we do with Tanaka, because Tanaka has come out and said that he's either going to re-sign with the New York Yankees or he's going back to Japan. And as much as I love Tanaka, I would rather have someone else other than Tanaka. Tanaka sometimes can be inconsistent, but most of the times he's a good player. I'm not gonna knock on him as a player because he's definitely good, but he definitely has his downsides. But if you lock up Tanaka, you get rid of LeMahieu. If Tanaka goes back to Japan, we sign LeMahieu, and we just put in and we just fill like the holes as we go with like little mini pieces. Because if you look at the Yankees on paper, we only need LeMahieu, and that's it. And pitching, yes, that's always going to be an issue. Will Paxton have a turnaround year this year? We'll find out. But I think the main concern is LeMahieu re-signing with the Yankees. If he doesn't, I have a strong feeling he might go to Toronto.
Toronto.
Because veteran presence is lacking in that organization. If you look at it, everyone's young. If when they have like a good, solid veteran to learn from, the Toronto Blue Jays are back to when Edwin and Jose were running that squad. Because Bichette and Vladimir and Cavan, they're the future of Major League Baseball. That's no question. The Toronto Blue Jays, within the next 5 years, are going to win a World Series ring. It's also my opinion. And actually, Toronto Blue Jays were probably, if they stay with those three, they're going to be top of AL East for quite some time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you on Tanaka. I think Tanaka, I'd rather have LeMahieu back here in New York than Tanaka, because I think the Yankees could fill that pitching spot for Tanaka and maybe go out and sign a Trevor Bauer, who can bring, a different style of pitching into New York. I don't know if Bauer would be willing to join the Yankees. I don't know if he's meant to be in New York. but he could bring he's got that nasty curveball. He's got he's got a nasty style of pitching that, he could bring to this team. The question also is, will Severino stay healthy? Can Paxton, like you said, will he stay healthy? And of course, Garrett Cole. Will Garrett Cole we got to make sure Garrett Cole is at the top of our list, make sure he's in that, in case the Yankees are in a playoff position where they need him. You got to make sure you have him ready to go in like a Game 7 situation in case you need him. But yeah, I think Tanaka. I don't think the Yankees should focus on Tanaka right now. I think they should focus more on LeMahieu, because I think LeMahieu, like you said, is pretty much most of the team. He's our heart and soul. I mean, he gets us those clutch hits when we need. And I'm not knocking the other guys on the team. Aaron Judge is a great hitter. He's the face of this franchise. Gary Sanchez is a good hitter, but he's got work to do. Giancarlo, they're all good players. But LeMahieu should be our priority right now, and I think Brian Cashman has made that clear. He wants to make LeMahieu a priority.
I will say that, as a dark horse priority, and I don't think really anyone's talking about it. If you want Gary Sanchez to get better and want to learn from an actual catcher, I say we go out and sign Yadier Molina as a backup catcher. Yadier has been in the league for so long. He's won World Series. He knows what the hell he's doing. He's kind of getting disgruntled with the Cardinals because he's not back yet. As far as to my knowledge, I don't think he signed anywhere yet. So if the Yankees were smart and wanted to help Gary Sanchez succeed in New York and want to fix their catcher problems, sign Yachty and have him work with Gary Sanchez. That's how you fix Gary.
Yeah, I agree. I like Yachty. I think he's a good veteran catcher to have. You definitely. I mean, you also have Higashioka too, who's a good backup catcher. But you might need. I mean, I think you need another guy like a Yadier Molina. This way, you have you need a veteran catcher. You need somebody like that on your roster. And there's also a report today saying that Yasiel Puig is interested in joining. Is a potential target maybe for the Yankees. What do you think about that?
Well, if I know the Yankees right now, we got to worry about Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton being healthy, and Aaron Hicks. And all three of them at one point this season have gotten hurt and goes on the IR. Now, we just gone in. It wasn't a major signing, but we went out and signed Socrates Brito, who not a lot of people know. He was an outfielder for the Diamondbacks for a cup of coffee. And I don't know his stats too well, but he is an outfielder. But if I know his name, then he must be pretty good. So he's a good person to put as a precaution in case they get hurt. Yasiel Puig, cover of MLB The Show a couple years ago, was the big talk of the town in Los Angeles. Kind of declined after he went to the Reds, and then he went to the Braves before he had COVID. I think the Yankees give him a chance. I think he'll strive in New York. I think he's a very New York-built player. He kind of reminds me of a younger, more hungrier Lucas Duda, the way he swings that fucking bat and just freaking demolishes the ball.
Yeah, the Yankees could use a player like that, like a Lucas Duda kind of hitter.
Yeah. So I definitely think Yasiel Puig will be a New York Yankee. As for what you were talking about before with Trevor Bauer, as much as a fan myself that I would love to have Trevor Bauer on the New York Yankees, I don't think the New York Yankees, New York Yankees are a traditional-based organization, and they like to do things a certain way. Trevor Bauer is a very unorthodox pitcher when it comes to his mannerisms and the way he looks at the game. He's kind of like him and Greinke are kind of in the same boat. They're both kind of crazy, but in a good way. They have their own kind of thing to them where they succeed. But I don't know. When it comes to the Yankees, that's why Greinke never came to the Yankees either, because they're both got that little weird. You know what I'm trying to say? He's just weirder than the other pitchers. He's got weird things going on with him. I personally see him. I was going to say the Padres if they did not do the whole thing with Blake Snell and Yu Darvish. I definitely saw them with him going to the Padres, but now that the Yu Darvish is not with Chicago anymore, and Blake Snell's not with Tampa Bay anymore, I can see Bauer going to the Cubs or the Rays. And in my opinion, if you put a gun to my head and say which one is he going to go to between the Rays and the Cubs, I think you're going to succeed more with the Cubs. I think he's going to go with the Cubs.
All right, Kyle, we got a few minutes left, so I want to do the final segment. I want each of us to pick a free agent and what team they are going to. It don't matter the team, don't matter the player. It could be Lucas Duda. So I want everyone to pick a player, and right after this commercial break, we will do our final segment. We'll be right back. We are back on the Doug Siravo show. Once again, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for watching us. I am going to start with Kyle and his free agency prediction. So, Kyle, who do you have signing this winter or spring, as it's January and guys haven't signed yet?
Well, Doug, I want to stick with the New York Yankees theme because that is my team, and I feel like I would know. I know the team better than anyone. Me and Brandon do. But I had already mentioned Yadier Molina should come and be a veteran catcher for the Gary Sanchez. But if we want to look, similar to that, Andrelton Simmons, I think he should be a New York Yankee just because, there has been times Gleyber Torres, he needs some help at the shortstop position. He bobbled some balls, kind of gave up some defensive plays for us this past season. And, we never know. We don't know what's going to happen with DJ LeMahieu, And I think Andrelton Simmons is that veteran guy you need in the locker room to help guys like Gleyber Torres while also helping the position in that you don't know if LeMahieu's coming back to the Yankees or not. So I think if LeMahieu goes, the next best option is to have Andrelton Simmons a part of your team.
That is an interesting signing. I am going to go to Brandon Schwartz now to say who he has signing this winter.
Well, I'm going to go. I think George Springer is going to end up in New York Met. I think Steve Cohen era begins now with a major signing in George Springer. I think George Springer would mean a lot to this New York Met franchise. And I think he would fit well with these other players on the Met roster. I think George Springer is going to end up being a Met. I think he wants to play in New York. He had a great run in Houston, but I think he's going to want to change now. And I think he wants to end up maybe on the New York Mets.
All right, so now we're going to go with Matthew Gizzy. Matt, who do you have signing a contract this winter?
I think George Springer. I think George Springer goes to the Mets. I really do. I think it would be a good fit. Steve Cohn, the Mets. They have the money. I think they want to. I think they want to make a statement, maybe. And Steve Cohn, I think he's willing to spend that money. So I think George Springer goes to the Mets. And I think the Padres. I think they have. I think they win the division this year coming up. I think the Dodgers have a hangover. I think they'll be very high on their championship win. But the Padres, they're getting better and better, and I think they're going to be even more hungry this year, especially after what happened in the playoffs this last year. So I would not be surprised to see the Padres pull it out. And if I had to choose, I think I will choose that. Yeah, I would pick that.
So for me, I'm going to go with JT Realmuto to the Washington Nationals. I just think that this is a team that still wants to win. And when you have a pitcher like Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, they want an elite catcher. I mean, Yan Gomes, Kurt Suzuki, they're good, but they're not at that elite status. You could say championship caliber because they did lead them to a World Series. But I just believe that he wants to win, and I'm not sure if the Mets could win right away. I just think that the Nationals are hungry to get back there, and I think if last year it wasn't a 60-game season, I think that they could have went on a run. I know my co-host Andrew Brem predicted them to, make it to the playoffs after starting 14-25, but we know how that went. And to conclude, we're going to go with Andrew Brem and who he decided to pick as a free agency prediction. Andrew?
Todd Frazier.
Todd Frazier.
Even though he probably wants to be he probably wants to stay with the Mets. I think he would be good for the Dodgers since he is a star player on the Mets, and since the Dodgers just won a championship, I think he would be the perfect fit for the team.
That's it.
Yeah, but I think he's going to stay with the Mets because I think he wants to be a local boy since he lives in Toms River, New Jersey. So I think he wants to be close to home, see his family. So, but I think, Dodgers would be a good pick as well. But I think the Mets are going to be his
especially
team.
If we don't know what's going to happen with Justin Turner. That's a good backup.
Yeah, and another thing is that they're not even sure if they're going to start March 31st because of the pandemic.
Yeah, everything's on hold right now. But
but they could still do it. I mean,
they can.
Because look at the NFL. They started the regular season.
Yes, they did, and they made it work. NHL made it work. NBA.
Exactly, like they did it. I don't see how MLB could do it, and since they're outside, it should be, as they say, when you're outside, you're a lot less risk to get COVID.
Andrew's trying to talk political again.
Political, but
all right.
So stupid. I can't. These politicians are so annoying.
Andrew, stay focused.
So
next time we'll do that. Yeah. So again, thank you for joining me on the Doug Siravo Show. Thank you for supporting Siravo Broadcasting. Alongside me, we have Andrew Brem. We have Brandon Schwartz. To the right, we have Kyle Esposito, who him and I will be debuting a show in a few weeks called Section 116. It's going to be a doubles podcast. And below us, we had Matt Gizzy join the show for the first time ever. Matt, thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug. I had a lot of fun. God bless.
All right, God bless. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
peace.